Hello, my name is Ilya, and I'm an expert enthusiast dealer and author in ancient Greek and Roman coins. I make many YouTube videos. As many of you know me, you know that I'm an expert in ancient Greek, Roman, Biblical, Byzantine coins and artifacts. I love the collecting field, and I love sharing my passion with the world, which is you guys. So today I got no less than 4 emails from 4 different major auction houses. One of them being based in the United States, a really major one, one of the top ones, and 3 other ones are based around in Europe, Germany area. So what these emails actually inform me about is there is a law that's coming into for a vote that would pretty much kill coin collecting for the entire German public. The reason why I think it's important, even those in the United States, even those just in other European countries, to support our brothers, our collecting friends over in Germany, is that if they could put such a draconian law into effect in a country like this, then this kind of draconian laws could transfer over to our countries, which may have a lot more freedoms, let's say in the United States, at least for now. So what this law basically says is that you have to have a provenance of your coins and collectibles and artifacts. So this would actually pretty much deal with all coins over 100 years old and maybe even as low as 100 euros. So we're talking about unnecessary burdensome paperwork, and there's plenty of people that have bought coins via entirely legal channels, including these major auction houses. And now they're trying to give you ask for a provenance of the past 20 years of collectors. We're talking about giving people names of private collectors for the past 20 years of coins. Are you kidding me? First of all, being an American, that's like a violation of privacy. In America we have this thing called the Fourth Amendment that you don't have to provide, or at least the Fifth Amendment, that the burden of proof is on the state, not on you. So in Russia, that's where I'm originally from. This is called prove you're not a camel. The government official tells you, prove to me you're not a camel. And, you basically can't prove even the most preposterous things. So, now getting into it, I'm going to read you a great article in regards to that was sent in the email, and some of the information from the emails that they sent me, and some of the comments that some of which were translated from German that you guys might like to hear. And afterwards, I'm going to encourage you to go to the link given and perhaps read the article and just, show your voice of support, even anonymously, that, when you get 120,000 petition signatures, basically, that's only when these law people in Germany would actually hear out. So I'm doing the best I can to share this with others. I'm going to read this into the thing because I think it's really important for the world, and I'm going to even explain more afterwards to interconnect everything what's going on with the world right now and coin collecting. Now, let me start with this article that came from Coins Weekly. I'm going to give a link below in this article in the description field and in the comment field. You can check it out. But basically, it goes like this. Online petition for preserving the right to privately collect. July 23rd, 2015. The ministerial draft on the new German legislation on the protection of cultural heritage is currently under heavy fire by the media. One possible reason is that no experts from the trade were involved in its preparation. So we're talking about something that could affect many people, and none of the experts were involved in it. Next, one possible both the trade and the German Numismatic Society were left out of the preparations of the draft bill right from the start. Thus, representatives of the trade had to enforce their claim for participation in a preparatory meeting held at the Federal Foreign Office in December 2014 by writing a letter to the Federal Foreign Minister. So just basically they left them out, and these guys had to write a letter, which these guys probably obviously didn't listen to. Next, it's a request notwithstanding, the German Numismatic Society was not even allowed to attend the oral hearing of the draft bill on April 22nd, 2015. So, German Numismatic Society, a group of collectors. You know, in America we have the American Numismatic Society, which is which holds a lot of these coin conventions. I recommend, if you're a coin collector, even if you're starting out, to come to these coin conventions and meet other people, see the dealers, find out more about coins, see these awesome coins. So we're talking about the German Numismatic Society is being left out of the law. So this exposes actually this bullcrap going on with the legislators not even listening to the people that it's gonna affect. This law is gonna affect most. So we're having a completely preposterous situation going on here. So the key arguments of the German coin dealer associations fizzle out because after 3 months, there is still no publication of the minutes of the hearing from April 22nd, 2015 in sight, so that the ministers who will vote on the draft in the near future have no idea about where the representatives of the trades stand on this. Are you kidding me? You were here. Okay, so first of all, you ignore these guys. These guys have to send a letter. Next, you give them a hearing, and then you don't even publish the information that these people said. Are you kidding me? All right, next. This is all the more disappointing because Dr. Gunther Winans, deputy of the commissioner of the federal government for the culture and media, has stated expressively in the mentioned hearing that coins will be regarded separately. I'm not really sure what that means, but it doesn't sound good either way. Just leave us alone, guys. The German collectors thus intend to light a beacon that hundreds of thousands of coin collectors in this country do not want a law on the protection of cultural heritage that makes the bureaucratic due diligence procedures impossible to follow. Yeah, are you kidding me? Yeah. To the effect that any collecting will be rendered impossible. Yeah, so we're talking about a bill that could kill coin collecting in Germany. What? The new legislation must not have the effect that objects whose provenance cannot be ascertained for the past 20 years. 20 years! Diminish in value significantly and sometimes cannot even be traded anymore. So, you're just killing these people. Affected are not only ancient coins with items worth 100 euros or more requiring special due diligence procedures that we bureaucrats just came up with, but all coins above a value limit of 2,500 euros. So you have a nice coin. Your grandfather left you a coin. He didn't leave you the paperwork. He died without leaving any papers. I'm sorry, my friend. You know, you may have, some challenges there. So here's the wording of the petition. These people got together a petition and worded a petition in order to, help stop this atrocity from happening. So it goes like this. For preserving the right to privately collect. The stipulations of the amendment of the law on the protection of cultural heritage threaten the collecting of cultural objects by private individuals. This law will affect everybody specialized in traditional collecting fields such as books, stamps, furniture, ceramics, coins, classic cars, and paintings. Retroactively, this new law will impose due diligence guidelines that are impossible to follow even for the most meticulous collector. When it comes to a dispute, the law will require, by reversing the burden of proof, the owner of a cultural good with a value of at least 2,500 euros to provide proof as to the item's provenance for the previous 20 years. So, wow. This affects quote-unquote archaeological cultural goods with a value as low as 100 euros. This is an unrealistic demand which misrepresents most of the objects that are currently traded on the domestic and international art market in full accordance with the law as being illegal, and will result in a considerable decline in value of the objects in question. We therefore demand a law demand a law on the protection of cultural heritage that observes the following principles. First of all, no retroactive effect of the law. My understanding is retroactive laws are illegal, at least in America. We're just studying a little bit about law, but that's my comment on it. No reversal of the burden of proof. Yeah, burden of proof, yeah. Like in Russia, they said, prove you're not a camel. Prove this, prove that. What? So it's called, what do they call it? They called it the Napoleonic Code. You are guilty until proven innocent. Okay, next. A clear definition of the term national cultural heritage and a limit to claims by the state to national cultural heritage only. Free movement unimpaired by bureaucratic obstacles of cultural goods which are not classified as natural cultural heritage, EU-wide according to the free movement of goods. An appropriate participation by the parties representing collectors and dealers in the lawmaking process. Yeah, which was completely ignored. I'm trying to stand behind you guys, but no, we have runaway governments everywhere a little bit. Next, actually a lot, but for centuries, collectors have protected cultural heritage. Private collecting adds to national efforts and promotes the tradition's preservation in all its variety. In a way, museums alone could never accomplish. That is true. These people, write books. These people publish collections and, research these coins. In a museum, they're just going to languish. You can't hire enough people to, look at every single coin that was minted. We're talking about millions of coins, millions of objects. We're talking about things as simple as, a little pin for, fastening a piece of clothing. Are you kidding me? Can you catalog everything? No, I don't think so. So, collecting is an immaterial cultural heritage that is currently threatened by the latest drafts of the new German law on the protection of cultural heritage. These are all in capital letters, protection. You can only laugh at the absurdity of these laws. Next, it is important that the German government notes that this petition is appreciated abroad. Add your name to the online petition, the matter of which we explicitly support. It will only take you a few minutes. You can sign either by name or anonymously. So please support your fellow collectors by signing to and distributing the link as widely as possible. Actively participating in this petition and informing as many collectors as possible is the only chance for us getting a hearing from the politicians. I hope so. It is a high time that the collectors gain the government's attention again, not just fanatic archaeologists. These guys say these are fanatic archaeologists, but I'm going to add my 2 cents into how this ties in with the global economic system, where it's going, and where it may end up. But I'm going to read a couple sentences from these different emails that I got from these major auction houses that informed me of this. Thank you guys. You guys know who you are. Thank you for just getting out there and letting me know, letting thousands upon of hundreds of thousands of people know right now. We appreciate it, and we stand behind you guys. So one of them actually said like this: by law in Germany, the Bundestag has to answer any petition with 120,000 plus signatures. This is a case where numbers do matter. We are asking you to take a few minutes to sign the petition to preserve private coin collecting. Yes, we're talking about, if you have 120,000 petitions, that's when they're going to listen. So far I've seen over 4.5 or close to 5,000 petitions. It's July 25th right now. I think there's a little bit over 30 days left for this petition. So we're trying to get this before September. We want 120,000 signatures, or at least anywhere close to it, or just, we have to support our, anybody that's not in Germany. We got to support you guys too. This is ridiculous because this could spread further to other people. Dear collectors and colleagues, as you may know, legislation is being introduced in Germany that could greatly limit the legal trade in even common ancient and modern coins, as well as things like antiquities, stamps, books, ceramics, cars, and art. We're talking about pretty much anything. We please ask you that you sign the petition. You can find by clicking on the link right below to show your solidarity with the German collectors and colleagues. But to demonstrate your own commitment to collecting coins and antiquities. The more dealers and collectors who sign this petition, the more likely your voices will be heard. We're not guaranteeing it, but we have to stand together. Either we hang together or we hang separately. It is important to show the German authorities that their action will have worldwide implications. Next. This is from another email. This is an unrealistic demand which misrepresents most of the objects that are currently traded on the domestic and international market in full accordance with the law as being illegal, and will result in a considerable decline in value of the objects in question. Yes, we're talking about an attack of people's collections that have been around for centuries. I made a video called Famous Coin Collectors, but basically, we had Emperor Augustus, 27 BC to 14 AD, collecting coins of the Greeks. And, and now Providence, hey, you have a paper from Mr. Augustus? Okay, next. So that's pretty much the emails from those guys. And then I got to the comments from the petition page where, this is translated from German, so, perhaps some of the translations are not perfect, but it's very easy to understand what they mean in there. And basically, and then this first one by Dr. Johannes Nolli from Munich, Germany. As a citizen of Germany, shocked me this bill that cannot be reconciled with disregard of private property, intrusion into private homes, and the burden of proof with the liberal traditions of our country in line. But it is more suited to an authoritarian state. Yeah, you guys know in Germany with the Nazis running around. I don't know. This is ridiculous. It's like. Might as well be those guys, making this law, because these guys aren't listening to anybody. This is by Dr. Hubert Lanz, a really good guy in Germany, also in Munich. And he goes like this. The Bill of Speakers represents a massive invasion of privacy and the rights of the collector who is not covered by the Article 36 of some legislation of the TFEU. Whatever it means, I don't really care, but... he's right with the invasion of the privacy and the collector rights. Next, Michael Kurt Sontag. These are all comments from that page with the petition. So you could read the comments and add your own comment after you sign it. Put it in there. I'm just reading in here like all these different people what they think also. Out of this comment, I got finally. There were already many private collectors, many centuries before there were archaeologists or public museums. That's true. I have actually seen a picture from Renaissance Italy, where this Italian is actually holding a coin of Emperor Nero, Sestertius. We're talking about from the 1500s. The museums and archaeologists didn't exist. Thanks to private collectors that this stuff has been preserved. Next, Dr. Francis from Berlin. He goes, this was actually from English. This law is unworkable. Its authors show little understanding of what or how much material is involved and how it is traded and collected. The law will lead to a huge increase in unnecessary and expensive bureaucracy. That's what these guys are trying to do. They want more money. Bureaucrats, they love more bureaucrats running around. Enforced by unqualified and overworked civil servants. I don't know who's servant, if these guys are running around and not listening to us. Who are completely out of their depth. Yeah, that's right. It will drive collecting on the ground and encourage cheating and smuggling, perhaps. It will endanger the livelihoods of legitimate dealers and auction houses and their employees, and discourage collectors from making often vital contributions to the scholarly debate. Yeah, definitely will. If the authors of the law believe the museum curators, archaeologists can handle all the cultural artifacts on their own, and these artifacts include tens of thousands of minor antiquities, a similar number of artworks, immense quantities of documents and manuscripts and millions of coins, seals, tokens, and the like. They are living in a fantasy world. Please excuse the irony, but it is likely that the money that governments hope to save will be diverted into providing extra resources for the museums, for instance, whose storerooms are already packed with mountains. We're talking about mountains of unstudied, often even uncatalogued items. This is a silly law driven by the ideology and not by common sense. Yeah, that's what politicians do. They have an ideology. They're like, oh, this sounds good. And, if you don't listen to the people that are in the field that are most affected, you're completely ignoring them. And we have already seen this, that these guys really don't care. But, if we don't make our voice stand, what's going to happen next? They're going to say, like, what else can't you collect anymore? Next. This one is from Magdeburg, and this is a person anonymous, didn't choose to share their name. According to the current draft of the law, require all the coins that are older than 100 years and worth more than 100 euros have a provenance over the last decades. That will probably be virtually no collectors in Germany provide. So basically, all the German collectors can't even provide it. But even this, it's like, even if there was a document, right? The German official, just for them to maybe steal the product, will say, oh, this paper wasn't good enough, or give me some money. I'm from Russia, and I know what politicians do, and we had the most corrupt politicians, so we know what these guys are up to. And then this guy goes, how can a collector provide in hindsight that now? I don't know. We're talking about retroactive laws. Apparently in law systems, in all law systems, freaking retroactive laws are illegal. You can't say something that people have been doing for hundreds and not thousands of years is all of a sudden illegal, or give us paperwork. It's like in these old movies, like, papers, please. Next. Mr. Friedrich Renford of Cologne, Germany, goes, collectors were the first instance who have striven to preserve cultural assets. You are right, my friend. Considerable proportions of today exhibited in museums, exhibits, even ancient, have come by way of the collector there. Yeah, that's right. We're talking about, like, for example, the first museum in England of ancient coins was started by the King of England. Who's the one that the Americans fought against? But anyways, he donated his collection along with a surgeon to that. Somebody the third, King George the Third. That's who collected. Next, we had a king that collected coins, which was Victor Emmanuel. Victor Emmanuel donated over 100,000 ancient coins to the museum collection, which you can see now. So there we have another collector. So, next, Kurt Subert of Munich. Collecting contributes in a big way in the popular education. Many older people stay mentally active when an operation collecting coins on a demanding level can take place without bureaucracy. I like this guy. Younger people can gain access to the world history and culture. Look, please return to our dark past and read by as many Jewish citizens have been great collectors. Yeah. Are we talking about history repeating itself? If we want to restrict the remains of cultured collector culture again and destroy it, what happens to many reputable coin dealers and the countless employees? Visit once a large, coin purse or auction, I guess a coin shop or an auction house, and familiarize yourself with the picture of the many happy people because they can collect, and because they're collecting and they can collect. This one actually points a beautiful picture. These are happy people. This is something. This is a subject to talk about. You could talk about the history of the coin. There's just so much to talk about the stuff, and I really like Mr. Kurt's explanation about this. And let's see, what's this comment? Dr. Robert Stark from Munich, Germany. He goes, as a trained archaeologist with a pragmatic attitude and an evolved collector, I consider the current development of seriously and ultimately harmful to the Wissenschaft, perhaps maybe to the collecting field. Basically, these are all the comments that I read. This is the people, saying what they think about it. There's a link to the petition below, which I recommend you take a look at and maybe perhaps add your 2 cents into it. Share this video as widely as possible, and let's get this thing. Send the email, send the link out to everybody. But anyways, what I'm seeing actually happening here is actually just a little bit bigger than that. Whatever the reason that these German politicians decide to make a law, protecting of cultural heritage, I learned this from American laws like this, is that if when a government wants to destroy something, they're doing it in the name of protecting it. If you want to destroy cultural heritage, you say, oh, I'm protecting cultural heritage. And like in America, we have certain laws that that claim to do such and such thing, rights and all this other stuff, and they're completely contrary to the stuff. But what I see actually is this, is that you have the world economic system is based on basically fiat currency ever since 1971. In 1971, the United States has went off the gold standard. And you had the world currencies. Currency markets actually pegged to the dollar, which was actually redeemable for an amount of gold for international transactions. But in 1971, there were too many dollars being printed up, and all of a sudden all this gold started leaving the country. And Nixon temporarily suspended the gold convertibility standard of the dollar. And now the reason the dollar also has the power of buying power is because of its trade for natural resources, such as oil and things like that. That you need the dollars in order to trade in those. But either way we look at it is that we have all these currencies. They're unbacked by anything, and collecting provides almost a safe haven for people to hold on to things. Like, for example, I've seen the articles where it was Christie's that had a $2 billion art auction recently. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar art auction with not some of the classics that being sold there, but some modern art stuff. So basically, I believe that collecting is almost a great, personally I believe it's a great investment. It's a great way to protect the cultural heritage. It's a great way to learn about history, and it's also great heirlooms to pass on to future generations. Some of the wealthiest people have collected coins in the past. So what I think they're trying to do is ahead of what you could say, what could be possibly bank runs. We're talking about with the situation in Greece. Like you see in Greece, they limited people withdrawing cash from their bank accounts to a certain amount. So what I have a feeling is that at some point, there may be runaway inflation. I'm not saying there will be, but the amounts of debts that every country has accumulated, the Eurozone, the U.S., every country in the world, because we have the banking systems which are based on debt system, which requires infinitely expanding debt. It was Einstein that said basically that the most powerful thing in the universe is compounding interest. So imagine like you invested $1 in Jesus Christ's time, you'd be a multi-billionaire right now if you just left it in the banking system to accrue interest and have it roll over. So we have impossible debts, and as the system is built on shaky foundations, there's no grounding it. Perhaps what I see is that perhaps maybe people will start going into things like gold, silver, art, collectibles, old cars, anything that preserves value. Let me tell you a story basically out of Russia. In Russia, you not only were you getting paid very little, but you had multiple times of inflation. So, for example, the government would say, hey, at this point in time, all the old currency that we had, all the paper money in the past, it's no longer valid. You have the next 24 hours to replace up to a certain amount for a certain amount, and then basically it's confiscation of wealth, people's buying power, things like that. So people had overnight, personally in my family, I had enough savings for a really nice brand new car. It's called the Volga. Turn into the amount of money to buy a couple pounds of meat. So in Russia, physical objects were valued much more than currency. But one of the things that kept people from capitalism returning is to put capital controls and make it illegal to let's say hold gold and silver and a whole bunch of other things that would happen in Russia. So what may be happening is that we have a return of social experiments which have been tried and have failed over and over again, that are basically limiting people's freedoms in order to protect. Supposedly that's what the government people always say. Oh, we're here to protect you. It was Ronald Reagan said that. Ronald Reagan was a U.S. president. He said that the scariest things in any language is, we are from the government and we're here to help. So basically that's my 2 cents of it. I think it's just a preemptive way to keep people from freely either maintaining their value, at least their buying power, by rushing into collectible coins. Because for example, most people don't know this, but a $30 million order of silver in the United States shut down the United States Mint here in July. So we had a mint with unprecedented demand for silver. We had the mint shut down with $30 million. That's nothing. A single individual in America could get that amount, in 5 minutes. Do a wire transfer. So we're talking about $30 million shutting down a market like silver. We're talking about several billions maybe being able to manipulate the gold market. So what also most people don't realize, in the silver and the gold markets being manipulated, it's been come out, like for example, Gold Antitrust Action Committee. It's found that there's a lot less physical gold and silver in existence than is being traded, and these prices are being artificially kept down, and perhaps prices of everything are being artificially kept down. So again, back to the point that as people are gonna rush into physical objects, physical things that maintain value, such as even art, such as fine cars and anything, jewelry, food, that you need preemptive legislation like this. Next they'll say you can't hoard food. Who's to stop them if they can pass this legislation without hearing out the people that would be most affected by it, the collectors, by completely ignoring the German Numismatic Society. We're talking about a complete blow to freedoms. If these politicians, they can do anything they want and not hear people out and not even put out the information in regards to this fact, then yeah. So that's my take on it. Below is a link to the article I read. It was from Coins Weekly, and the link also to the petition. So let's support our German brothers and sisters in the collecting field, and let's protect each other, because in the past in Germany, I think the saying goes is that first they came for this group and I wasn't part of them. Then they came for this other group and I wasn't part of them. But then when they came for me, then nobody was there left to say a thing. So yeah, guys.